Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is Random Guy on YouTube. Today I will be talking about D1 Group Hospitality Incorporated. D1 Group Hospitality Incorporated is a company that owns, operates, licenses and manages restaurants, lounges and bars. The company's primary brand is STK, a modern steakhouse concept with locations in major cities across US, Europe, Asia and the Middle East. The company also operates Kona Grill, a casual dining restaurant chain that offers American cuisine with global influences. The company also provides hospitality to hotels, casinos, and other venues under the D1 Hospitality brand. D1 Group Hospitality is a small-cap company with a capitalization of $241 million. It trades on Nasdaq Stock Exchange under the ticker symbol STKS. Let's look at the revenue growth of STKS. The black line represents compound annual growth rate of revenue of 24% in the last 10 years. This is very decent, but the 5-year CAGR of 31% is even more impressive. Since 2019, the company has accelerated its growth significantly thanks to the recovery from pandemic, the expansion of its STK brand, and the acquisition of Kona Grill in the late 2019. Here in orange are my revenue growth projections. For the second quarter of 2023, I estimate $89 million and $387 million for the full fiscal year, which is slightly above the company's guidance of $360 to $380 million. You may have noticed that I included some up and down swings in my revenue projections. I'm not really expecting any more catastrophic events, just experimenting with cyclicality. The important thing is that the business is going in the right direction. Let's look at the margins of STKS. Very low gross margin, just above 20%, very typical for the restaurant industry. I don't expect much improvement in the gross margin and maybe slight improvement in operating margin over time. STKS was not profitable until 2019. In 2020, the company suffered net loss of $13 million due to the pandemic, but it quickly bounced back in 2021. Here in orange are my earnings estimates. 14 cents per share in Q1 2023 and 60 cents per share in the whole fiscal year 2023. That would bring 2023 PE ratio down to 12.6. Despite all the spikes in earnings up and down, the overall long-term trend is nicely up and the company is clearly improving. Let's just take a quick look at the balance sheet. There is some long-term debt. Debt to equity ratio is close to 1. Not great, but I think manageable. STKS is buying back shares, but with not so ideal balance sheet, they should be conservative. Fortunately, only $7 million is approved for share repurchase purposes. This makes only 3% of the company capitalization. STKS is currently trading at PE ratio of 20.5 and forward PE ratio of 10.8 based on my estimates for 2023 earnings. That seems relatively low for a growth company like this, but the average historical PE ratio of STKS was even lower at 8. STKS is also trading at price to sales ratio of 0.8, which is at lower end of the trading range. I've also decided to share my fair value estimate, so here it is in the purple. The estimate is an average of two models. The first model is based on discounted earnings valuation with 20% discount and terminal PE of 8 after 6 years. It looks extremely conservative to me, but this terminal PE is based on 10-year market history, and I don't want to bet on market suddenly re-evaluating that. The second model is based on 1-year future price to sales ratio of 1. To summarize, here is my investment thesis. STKS is a growth stock with revenue growing at a rate of 20 to 30% annually. With forward PE of 10.8 and price to sales ratio of 0.8, it looks cheap. And based on my estimate, the conservative fair value should be at least $12.5. This means the stock has upside of more than 65%. The balance sheet of the company is manageable. Now let's just quickly look at the portfolio update. Nasdaq seems to be unstoppable, but I have to say some of the companies in this index seem to be rather richly valued. My portfolio is doing okay just above the S&P 500. Russell 2000 started to catch up with the rest of the market. Today, I am adding 13.21 shares of STKS for the last closing price of $7.57. Here is the full portfolio table. I should remind you that I am just a random guy on YouTube and not a financial advisor, and none of this video is a financial advice. This portfolio is only virtual, but I recently bought real shares of STKS. That's all from me today. Goodbye and see you next week.